Cut out before the 8 hours? Is that all right, guys?
This Hangout on air is live. Well, hi anyone who's joining us via the Hangout. December. As I was bringing Brendan up the elevator, I said, it's been a while. It's probably been a few years since you've been here last.
Maybe, I can't remember.
Is my suspicion.
Year and a half,
and we were in a different room or something, and that made me realize we've been doing this for like 5 or 6 years.
5 years.
4 or 5 years. I need to look it up. I think we have that on the homepage. Like, hey, how long? Like when our first meeting was.
2011.
Yeah, 2011. So we've been doing this for 5 years this month, which is pretty cool. I hope it has brought some value to some people. Maybe. And I know I had a few topics of discussion that I want to hit up. I know one thing is we missed it last month because of Mac Tech, and Mac Tech was good this year. Pretty happy with it for anyone who attended.
Yeah.
Good flow, good presentations, good people. Already thinking about next year. More stuff we can do. I missed doing a puzzle this year. Hopefully I'm going to start on that now so it's ready for next year. Along with some other things. Start on them kind of now. But yeah. Anyone who didn't join us, you missed out. So hopefully you join us next year. New machines. We didn't talk about the new machines because we missed last year. Touch Bar Max.
Touch.
And I guess for a number of reasons, they're slow to roll out, either because of Apple or because people don't want to make the investments in them because their current machines are good enough. I haven't found a ton of people with Touch Bar Max yet. So if you want to know what the experience is like, you can go download Daniel Jalkut's Touche app or load it up in Xcode. But Daniel Jalkut wrote this app, redsweater.com. It's called Touche. And there's a little touch bar simulator on your screen at all times without the need for Xcode. So it gives you a touch bar if you want to see what that's like. I haven't found the touch bar particularly useful. Maybe we have to wait for developers to do cool stuff with it. I don't know.
Yeah, it hasn't been compelling for me yet. It's been so far, actually, if anything, slightly annoying.
Depending.
Like it's the escape key. I was like, oh, you can have escape key and then terminal. I'm like, well, like I use that a lot. If I'm in Lightroom and I double click something to open it up, I use escape to go back to the thumbnail or something. Like that's just a common just to go back from one view, and I ended up trying to it's not having the feedback, or you just kind of. I find myself realizing there was many times I would just rest my finger on the escape key, and then press it after a second, and they can't do that on the touch bar because as soon as you touch it, it's up.
That's been my big problem. So anytime.
So I have to, I find myself sneaking my finger around the top to just get on the edge and then get ready to touch it.
That's been my problem. I find anytime I want to hit escape, it hasn't been a problem. A lot of people were sort of afraid of that. Anytime I want to hit escape, no problem. But I found I have this habit of resting my finger on my pinky sort of on that top row, waiting to press something. And I trigger it by mistake all the time. So that I've had to sort of change my habits.
But none of the apps I use have any touch bar integration yet. So maybe it might be useful eventually.
Some of them.
Or any touch bar integration that I care about.
Yes.
Maybe I should say.
So Hopper added the memory layout to the touch bar, and it's kind of it was interesting for a last minute. He must have just found out about it. He was like, oh, what can I do with this?
Yeah.
Kind of useless. The video apps that Apple demonstrated, it puts the timeline in the touch bar. I haven't found that to be superior to the on-screen representation of a timeline. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I haven't found it very compelling.
I only started using Lightroom recently. If I got back and I had 11,500 pictures to go through. So I think once Lightroom has for the editing bits, it would be nice to let me adjust the exposure instead of having a little tiny
Maybe.
hard to adjust, one that's on the touch bar might be easier to do on those sorts of things. But
I can see that.
like that, where it's a tiny little slider versus something big on your finger might be easier to manage. Some of the stuff they were showing on the demos might and the thing might be good, but
Papayan is adding in Slack that he said Hopper also added a few jump widgets that are nice. Is referred by. They're context sensitive and only when it would be only when it would also be an option from the menu. Okay, I'll have to take a look for those. I have not dug into Hopper 4 as much as I would like to have yet. So new machines, and along with the new machines, we got some new updates, security updates. So as usual, go patch all your crap. Going through those updates, they're the typical amount of holy crap. This was all exposed at one point, and sort of, I would say, frustratingly, Apple's position more and more is that if you want the updates, including security updates, update to the latest OS. I guess Apple never had an official policy, but it always empirically was the current OS -1 was supported.
At least to some extent, yeah.
To some extent,
Yeah.
and it seems more and more that is not the case.
But
more things are not getting patched in the previous OS.
Very little at this point. I mean, only Pants on Fire stuff is getting patched.
Yeah.
And even that sometimes.
Yeah, I know they released a standalone Safari, which should patch those things, but there are a number of security updates that are Sierra only right now. It's a little frustrating. We had the benefit of asking our Apple reps if they had any official statement on that, and their official statement was just update to the latest. So,
yeah.
Yuck.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think certainly in Apple's defense, it's much better for them to not have to focus engineering efforts on multiple older build trains and complicated sets of qualifying 10, 11, whatever on 35 different models of Macs and iterations of things. And
Apple could do a lot of things that
Sure.
in their best interest, but they build these
Right.
machines for us. So
Right. I mean, certainly I'm spoiled here at Google where we're for security reasons and otherwise, it's, move to the latest one right away.
Yeah.
I definitely understand people with, limitations at other companies where they can't quite
companies,
do that.
schools,
Yeah. Other let me say organizations.
update. So that's the thing. It's also in Apple's best interest to make sure their products are secure and people aren't able to exploit them. So
yeah, but I mean, there's some organizations that are so far behind that even in the old world they wouldn't be getting updates. So
yes,
maybe Apple's trying to maybe Apple's kind of realizing that it's not keeping 10.11 up to date security wise isn't giving them that much more because all these people they're running older versions of 10.10 and 10.9 and 10.8 and they're just never going to be updated anyway.
Yep.
And that's 1% of their market or something. Making up numbers completely.
Yeah, and in all fairness, I will say updates have gotten, in general, you have to still test them, but in general, they've gotten a lot less disruptive. Apple has put a lot of work into their update mechanism. You generally save a lot of your state, so even after you reboot, you come back pretty much where you were. So with that, it makes it easier, but definitely things still break between revisions. I think it's gotten better now, but my home machine that I use for all my audio stuff is still on 10.11 because a lot of audio drivers broke. In Sierra, Apple changed this one thing, and it was boom, it just broke a number of devices. I think that's fixed now, but yeah, I'll get around to updating.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you can own me through Safari. I see a bunch of people watching via Hangouts. Join us on the Slack channel and ask your questions and give us feedback. Talk to us there. Papayan added something. I'm just trying to parse this now. 10.12.2 hopefully will be the OS build that the TouchBook Pro should have shipped with. Yes, I agree. Yeah, because the forked build was a pain this time. Yes, we had 2 different versions of 10.2.1,
Yeah.
right? 2 different build numbers of it. One had the touch bar resources, the other didn't. Given the touch bar and its related hardware is seemingly fully USB connected and operated, we might just see external keyboards with touch bar and SEP. That would be nice. I mean, that would be one way for Apple to get it possibly to an iMac or something. So your iMac is only going to have a standalone keyboard. It would be kind of cool if they offered Secure Enclave and a touch bar in the standalone.
How does the secure? I don't know what secure enclave means for a USB keyboard.
Yeah, that's true. It needs to be married to the machine. You're right.
I mean, I guess, but then you can't. Whatever. Keyboard breaks, then you can't boot your machine anymore.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how that works.
Yeah. You can't do Apple Pay. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The Secure Enclave in particular really needs to be married to the machine.
About how you're unlocking 1Password with my password now that I have on my Mac Pro. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I can't live like that. Yeah.
It's terrible. How do you put up with that? The Touch ID on your Mac is really nice.
Well, especially to unlock the screensaver, which we've now disabled. Damn it.
Yeah, the way it goes. Question: the Touch Bar is an iOS device in the computer. Couldn't it be in a standalone keyboard? I don't know because the Secure Enclave processor in the Mac is married to that hardware.
Right. Well, I mean, so you could have the touch bar and the thing could sit there in a keyboard, but some of the stuff that the touch bar would provides to the new MacBooks wouldn't, or I can't easily see a way that they would work on an external keyboard like that. So yeah, you could have a touch bar that like all of the apps would pop up and maybe even have the fingerprint thing tied to the keyboard. But as far as like any of the
still needs to do it on the computer, really.
Yeah, I mean, stuff could go. I mean, it could possibly work, but then some of the future stuff that's not there yet, with like the more secure booting with APFS that we're all expecting it's going to happen. That stuff I don't think would ever fly. I don't know. Maybe Apple has clever people, so they might be able to figure something out.
I think Papayan's got it here. Yeah, they'd have to ship the Secure Enclave on the iMac logic board. And basically, the touch bar is watchOS, right? So if you do Apple Pay and do watchOS, you're still really using your phone, right? It's using the Secure Enclave processor on your phone to do Apple Pay when you use your watch. So this would be similar. You could have the touch bar in a machine and the Touch ID reader on the keyboard, but you can keep the Secure Enclave processor on the Mac. That makes kind of sense.
Maybe get some more adapters.
more
That
dongles.
seems to be the solution, right? I have 2 on this machine right now for the mic and the webcam.
Yeah, I mean, it could be feasible to figure out something with but I don't know how that would work. If you don't have the Secure Enclave on the machine, I don't know how it would fly.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's for
Apple's clever; they can figure something out.
That's for Apple to figure out. So yeah, I know one of the other big changes in the security update to 10.2.2 is that you can now enable SIP while booted.
Okay.
Reboot for it to take effect, but you have to enable it. Yay.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like it was. I mean, it's something something we wanted, and I think Apple only gave it to us because Apple screwed up.
Yeah, I would love to hear the story one day of how they shipped a bunch of machines with SIP disabled. I'd love to hear how that came to pass, but we never will. Or maybe in 20 years or something, if someone leaves the company or something, all the dirt comes out. But I'm just really curious because that seems like a checkbox that just is too important to sort of not tick off as you're shipping machines. But hey, what do I know? Yeah, Pine says, big kudos to everyone who opened and duped radars. I'd like to think we made this happen in part. And maybe Apple
We're the true heroes.
Yeah, Apple always says they take that very seriously, so hopefully they do. Oh, and imaging is the other thing I want to talk about. I know we spoke a little bit last time, so not last month, but 2 months ago. We had Michael Lynn join us via Hangouts, and we had him discuss his blog post about the urgency of figuring out what you can manage via DEP and MDM, and if that's not acceptable to you, letting Apple know that. But we have it on pretty good word from our Apple reps that block-based imaging is going to be dead at some point. So spread the word. If you do your imaging via blasting a bunch of blocks onto disk via Thunderbolt or some other mechanism, that's not going to be supported at some point. So adjust your workflows accordingly. Apple says that anything that comes through their installer is safe. So I guess that leaves NetBoot as an option, which we don't do anymore. Right? Or net install, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Net install is still an option. But it definitely disrupts us. We do block-based imaging, shove it all to disk really fast. Yay.
Well, I mean, in the glorious future with APFS and the system partition is,
Yeah.
you know, cryptographically verified and protected, and then that's fine. Like I'll accept the downside of no block-based imaging to have that glorious future.
I'm looking forward to that.
But that's assuming that the stuff comes, verifiably shipped shipped and can be verified.
Yeah.
And then if we have to use an Apple installer, an assigned package to install the bits on top that we need, on the one hand, or DEP. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and I would like to think APFS is going to be taken very seriously, and they're not going to screw it up because they say it's going to be one file system across iOS, the watch, and the Mac.
Yeah.
And they're not going to screw up iOS. They're going to make damn sure they don't screw up iOS. So the Mac will be safe in that regard. So that's the bulk of what I want to discuss, but I know you come to us with some questions.
What percentage of people affiliated through this group are not or are using Jamf, do you think?
I don't know. We would have to poll anyone watching right now who's using Jamf. We don't use Casper. We evaluated Casper. We looked at it quite some time ago, and for the amount of work we would have had to do to integrate it with our environment, we just decided, hey, we could go build something.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't give you exact numbers, but there does seem to be a fair mix at least. I mean, it's not overwhelmingly one way or the other, Casper and other tools. But it also varies. We have the people who show up week to week or month to month, or use a different group every time almost. So it's kind of hard to measure.
Yeah. So a few people in the Hangout are thumbs upping that they're Jamf users. So might get some responses that way. I think we also had an issue. Again, this might be resolved, but for the size of our organization, Jamf had Casper had a single point of failure in the MySQL database.
Yeah.
So that was an issue for us as well. For smaller organizations, that might be fine. For us, that was. I guess we also have the issue of Google does giant, big stuff really well. Small stuff can be really difficult to deploy. So sometimes you go, I just want a MySQL server somewhere. Everyone just looks at you and kind of laughs.
Right. Yeah. I want to.
Where are you going to do that?
Sure. Right. I want to serve 5 petabytes of data. Got it.
Yeah.
Boom. Set up. Done. But yeah. I just need a server somewhere.
I want a lab server somewhere. Yeah. Although that's getting better with Compute Engine. Some of those cloud services, but yeah. So that was an issue for us, though. Even now with the cloud services, I think if we want to do that, it's still a single point of failure. That was, and now you're managing this service. And,
Well, I'm curious how IBM is implementing.
I mean, I guess, I don't know, I want to say we asked them at the time, and at least now this was years ago. It was data information, but we asked them Jamf, and they didn't support MySQL sharding or replication.
Sharding. Replication, yes. Sharding, no, I think.
Okay, so maybe that was it, replication. But even at the time, they didn't even like MySQL replication. So
Like they replicated, but they couldn't fail over.
yeah, which again means someone has to wake up in the middle of the night to go fix it if that goes down. Again, a smaller organization might not even notice you're all in the same time zone. You know, the IT staff gets there early, or gets a page and just like restart something and it's fine by the time everyone comes in the morning. Maybe that's acceptable, but yeah, at Google that's just not going to fly, right? People working around the globe every single hour of the day, so somewhere it's 9 a.m. somewhere in the world.
Well, maybe that leads to my other question, which
Yeah.
is how many independents do you think there are managing small, medium-sized businesses?
I mean, I think that's what we found to be the great use case when we talk to people about Casper, like, or they ask us about it. Like, it has this nice GUI interface. You can go click through things. You can hire a junior admin and put them on it. You know, the options that we use, like Monkey and Puppet, they require a certain degree of skill to set up and use, right? So, like Monkey, you run shell scripts to get your packages set up and blah, 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 where Casper makes all that pretty easy. I assume it comes with Composer, which lets you build packages and get them running to Casper. And I did forget about this, Payan. Actually, so right before that, someone didn't thumbs up that he was a Jamf user, but he says that he's in talks with Jamf about rolling out Casper. And Payan asked, what are early opinions about Fleetsmith? And I kind of forgot about Fleetsmith. So Fleetsmith is a new package deployment
Management.
solution, right? Like I was going to say, I guess that's their company name as well.
Yeah,
Fleetsmith.
Yeah, they tie in pretty tightly with the Google Apps
Google
stuff,
Apps,
which is
yeah.
nice for Google Apps users.
So yeah, they were at MacTech conference, and we met them at some point, and I mean, not formally, but I got to see their interface, and it looked really nice.
Mhm.
I don't know what the pricing is like. I don't know. I remember Casper being fairly expensive per seat.
Yeah.
I don't remember how Fleetsmith compares with that. I think Fleetsmith was probably in the same ballpark.
Well, I think they're cheaper, but they only have a subset of the functionality right now. So as they build up functionality, the price might go up.
I mean, one thing that is really nice about Casper, which is really the main reason we looked at them years ago, was their self-service module, sort of the optional install. It's like, give me this catalog of stuff I can install, which seemed really well done, had a nice interface. And, I mean, obviously you can do these things with Monkey and or Puppet as well, but Casper had this nice system for like, as you move around, look at what network you're on and go make sure you have the right printer set up. That was really nice about Casper. Well, are you looking at Casper, or you already have it rolled out and just don't know how to?
He's about to roll it out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But these are questions we're always running around while, I posted to him about Puppet and Monkey, and he's just like, well, we don't have to invent. This has already been done, and if it's good enough for IBM, it's good enough for us.
You don't get fired for buying IBM.
What's
or
that?
what IBM buys.
Yeah.
The problem with that
Payan-
is that it's what IBM's selling.
It's what IBM's selling.
That's the thing.
Are they not using it internally?
No, I think they are, but I don't think they made a decision. They didn't examine all the tools and say what's the best thing to use. They got
had
this
contract.
contract with Apple, like you guys are going to sell Mac Consulting and you're going to sell Casper Consulting, so you guys better use it.
Well, all right.
So I
So,
don't, which doesn't mean it's bad. It's just like I don't know. I would trust that as an indicator that they examined all the options and picked the
sure.
best
So
one.
to spin that another way, and I don't know what the selection process was, but Casper is used at Apple.
Right.
Right.
So to put another spin on that, that's what Apple wound up choosing. Apple is so strange. They're like, they generally just give people a Mac out of the box when they start and say, here, use this. And you opt in if you want management tools. So it's up to you to install Casper if you want it. And I think the idea is you get some extra stuff by opting into management. But in general, you don't have to have a managed machine, which just kind of cracks me up. But just going back to what I was going to say, Pine added in, and I kind of forgot about this, that for those not familiar with Fleetsmith, security is #1 focus.
Yeah.
So that's very promising. And I forgot, they did really sort of like drill that in. And not to say Casper's insecure, I really don't know. I know they've changed their models since we've looked at them with the SSH agent.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah.
SSH into your
Yeah,
machine.
this was 8 or 9 years
This
ago.
was-
We looked at them.
Yeah,
8 years ago.
8 years ago,
Yeah.
something like that. So I know they've changed that to a real agent on the machine, polling and pulling down. It's a dangerous game. But obviously, don't let me forget, and you probably know this already, but there is a Jamf forum that Jamf has. What's it
Jamf
called?
Nation.
Jamf Nation. And that seems to be the forum that people go
Right.
to, and a lot of sharing there. Now, I've been pointed to Jamf Nation posts before, and I look at it and I just go, oh my God, this is horrible advice. So I think you have to, you have to read it and really sort of like evaluate some of the answers in the Jamf Nation forums on your own with a critical eye.
Okay.
But obviously that's just a huge collection of Casper users. And if there's something you're facing, hey, how do I get machines to do this thing every Wednesday, right? Like, or whatever, right? Like, they probably have an answer for you. Hey, how do I get only, this subset of my machines to install it? Like, yes, they probably have an answer for you. I don't know of many other resources, but it seems like, that's what Jamf does. They're in the business of selling this product and providing an ecosystem for their product. And, I know they have, you said there's this meetup, at least in New York.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a monthly. I think it's a monthly. It's monthly. Yeah.
That's great. And they have their annual conference, Jamf Nation, I
Right.
guess it's called.
Right. Yeah.
Jamf Nation User Conference.
JNUC.
Used to be free, now it's $400 or something, but
Right.
kind of makes sense, I guess.
Well, you should know it's expensive to run a conference.
It's expensive to run a conference for a lot of reasons. As someone involved with running a conference, I can tell you, providing good food for people, that's where the bulk of the money goes. Providing good food, but you want good food. Good food almost isn't noticed sometimes, but bad food would absolutely ruin.
And when somebody dies, that's really bad.
Okay, so Joel Reed on Slack, I guess it's called NYC Jug, Jamf User Group. He said there were 54
Sure.
attendees there last time, so that's a good showing.
Yeah, wow. Nice.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth about this all the time. Like, I think we understand what Casper provides for a lot of people. It's not the solution for us, but I think we understand, it provides this nice click-through interface. And again, a lot of people aren't necessarily comfortable with open source software sometimes because there's no phone number to dial when there's a problem. And you can't
Right.
turn the- I don't know
Yeah,
why.
who do you fax?
I went for the old school telephone.
That was
Rotary. That was a rotary.
Telex.
By the way, they changed their name from
Oh, yeah,
Casper to Jamf, just Jamf.
that's right. The product as well is no longer.
Yeah, I think that's
Alright,
yeah. Jamf and Jamf Pro.
Okay. It's no longer Casper. Okay.
Gotta go let out my dog.
Enjoy.
What does that mean?
See you tomorrow. that code or something? I don't know if this is actually the case. Someone saying because Casper mattresses got.
No, I don't think
I
that
don't,
was
I
the
don't
reason.
know if that's. I don't
Well, there's
know
a
if that's-
Windows management tool called Casper
Was there?
for ghosting. It's a replacement for ghosting.
Oh, maybe, but I mean, gosh, it seems like they've had that name Casper for
Certainly before Casper mattresses.
Yeah.
definitely before Casper mattresses. But it seems like they've had it for so long. But that does ring a
Who
bell
knows,
now.
but-
That someone came out with a tool as a competitor to Ghost
Hmm.
called Casper. Ghost was this old imaging
Right,
tool
right,
for
right.
Windows,
Yeah.
and they came out with a competitor to it.
Also, it just could have been just a marketing decision, right? That's their main thing. Let's just
Yeah,
call ourselves.
that's what they do. They don't really do anything else, which makes sense. Okay. Any other questions? Things that you're
Which I
struggling
could
with?
think of right now.
No. I'm trying to think. I feel kind of bad. Like I know at MacTech, Sal Segovian spoke and announced that Apple was letting him go, which was an interesting signal to a lot of people. I am curious where Apple goes with this in the future. Of course, they had the PR statement. I think it was Craig Federighi said, no, we're still committed to automation and scripting, which was Sal's main thing. I am curious. My guess would be that this is all going to go to Swift. Somehow they're going to try to, right? Like, it was a few years ago, and Apple announced you could automate your Mac with JavaScript, which seemed like this weirdo kind of choice, but
Well, yeah.
so many people know it. And
Also, there's a lot of
there's a ton of JavaScript.
a surprising amount of the Apple's
Installers.
packages,
Yeah.
their pre-flight and post-flights are in JavaScript.
Yes,
I'm just,
that is an
all right.
official,
yeah,
and that has been for a long time.
I know, but every time I see that, I'm like, that's just
Yeah.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Do the thing if you want to do it, I guess.
Yeah, you do all these checks for your machine and everything.
Yeah.
in JavaScript. But so anyway, so they added that, but I don't know how much that's taken hold or not. I mean, I really don't know how much people use Apple Script in their daily lives. Like,
Well, I mean, his automation isn't just AppleScript. It's
absolutely.
it's everything. It's
Sure.
Ruby, Python, Bash.
And Automator was really cool about that because you could
Yeah.
do shell script and
Right.
add Python or Ruby or Bash or whatever else in there, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know what that means, but something tells me this is headed towards Swift at some point. We'll see if that's the case or if that makes sense at all. That's it. We have a nice tight meeting this month. Anybody else? Comments? Questions?
How your class? How's your? It's good.
Plan's awesome. It's
All
getting
right.
better every day.
With that, thanks everybody. See you in the new year.
See ya.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Happy